Welcome to the OVA vlog. Today we are talking about breastfeeding, and we have a very special guest, Liz Lal, who is the founder of Enlightened Mama. We're going to learn a little bit about her organization and then talk about breastfeeding. Welcome to the OVA vlog.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So what is Enlightened Mama?
So Enlightened Mama is a business that I started about 10 years ago when I became a birth doula that blossomed into adding in childbirth education, new parent education, and lactation. So I'm a board certified lactation consultant, or an IBCLC, also a DONA birth doula and a doula trainer. I'm a Lamaze childbirth educator and a Lamaze trainer, and work for the University of California, San Diego in their lactation department as an educator and also a teaching assistant.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah.
So she is a birth and breastfeeding, I'll just say guru.
Yes, you say guru. I never say
okay.
expert. I say
Okay.
I have lots of experience. I'm not an expert because people become the experts on their own children and their own lives. So
I love that.
yeah.
So the two questions I have for you are, one, if you are a mom that is a new mom and you know you want to breastfeed, what is one tip that you have for new moms, like when they're starting out?
Yeah, so I think that when we think about breastfeeding, it's something in this culture that we don't really see. It's covered, it's shamed, it's almost like a choice. You know, are you going to do this? Are you going to breastfeed or not breastfeed? And that we have to really remember that, yes, of course, it's a choice and people do it or don't do it for a variety of reasons. But we have to remember that at our core, we're animals. And in birth, we see this. I, talk to women about the fact that, when you're going through the labor and birthing process, you're kind of the closest to Mother Nature you're going to be. I always feel like you're kind of like a combination of a wild animal and a young child, is what I tell a lot of people about birth, right? And then we get to breastfeeding, and we have to remember that nursing our babies is the most animalistic thing that we do after birth, right? This is sort of the normal piece of it. And so we teach a lot about normal breastfeeding, and there's been this trend in the breastfeeding world in the last several years about something called biological nurturing and laid back nursing and frontal nursing and all these different things, which basically means that I have my little baby here, and that I'm an animal. So this is what all other animals do to nurse their babies: is the mama gets comfortable. So I'm just gonna get comfortable. I'm gonna get my baby close to my food source. So I'm gonna put him on my belly. And babies do this magical thing right after birth, but also for months and months and months after, that I get them close to their food source, and they're like, hey, that's my food. I'm a little animal to go for my food. And they wiggle, and then they latch on, right? And so we don't have lactation consultants that work in the wild or at the farm, or there isn't like little kitty lactation consultants making sure that those blind kittens get on. It's that mama lays down, she gets them kind of close, and they find their way there. Because babies are pre-programmed to breastfeed, right? Like whether or not we want to say, yes, you should breastfeed or you shouldn't, your baby thinks that they're going to breastfeed. They are pre-programmed to do this. Your body is pre-programmed by making milk in the middle, early in pregnancy and having changes to the breast tissue to say, like, I don't care what you think you're going to do, but I think I'm going to nurse a baby. So we have to kind of bring us back to the root of saying, like, hey, what happens if after birth, and once everything's kind of settled, that we let you just try and see what happens when we get you comfortable, get you relaxed. Usually all we do is basically, like, this is a position. Back. It's like, scoot your butt forward enough so that gravity holds your baby on, because all these other silly positions are working against gravity, and gravity actually brings babies to their back and elicits what's called the startle reflex. Yeah. So babies' arms will flail, and they're all confused, and they're disoriented, they're like, I'm falling, where am I, what's going on? Which none of us would do very well eating if we were falling off of a cliff, right? Yeah. So it's like, we're like, hey, get back to where I belong, put the baby here, get him close. I usually would support like with maybe one pillow for the arm. Or if you're in public with your diaper bag, your purse, your winter coat. We live in Minnesota, right? Just shove your coat under your arm and let your baby just get comfortable. And then babies are able to look and make eye contact with the mom. You can see what's going on. This is going to be the position that's going to allow babies to open the widest, to use all of their reflexes. They kind of look and bob around to elicit those rooting reflexes to get to their food source. Yeah. And they're going to nurse the best way possible. Okay. In our lactation practice, we see honestly a lot of sort of the train wreck situations, or people who've already had negative experiences because we work out of hospitals. So we see a lot of I've been to 17 different lactation consultants. What are you going to do to change this? And we'll be like, well, here, let's just kind of get you comfortable. Let's get you relaxed, and we get moms relaxed and put babies there, and then they're blown away. They're like, oh my God, how did they know how to do that? It's like, well, it's a little animal and that's their food. So of course they're going to go to it. So that is the best thing that people can do. And, you know, the woman who discovered this really did this by traveling all over the planet and seeing how is everybody else breastfeeding. And this is what everybody else is doing. This is watching other animals nurse their babies and think, oh, this makes sense. So it's great, and it's wonderful that she did it, but she didn't discover it. She just sort of renewed this normalcy of breastfeeding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's, so in the case, because there are cases where some women aren't able to breastfeed, or there are issues that occur. What is the biggest issue, or I don't want to say issue, but dilemma when it comes to breastfeeding?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, you know, there's the ones people talk a lot about. Pain is a big factor, a big deterrent. You know, we're concerned about milk supply and things like that. But I really feel like a lot of it is an education piece, that if you understand a little bit about basic anatomy, physiology, and how breastfeeding works, that can help you overcome that. And that comes from good support. I mean, I feel like we could list all the reasons that people don't breastfeed or choose not to or stop. And when it gets down to it is that if you have good support, you know, we say about, you know, 99% of women can breastfeed 100% of the time. But when we look at the reasons why people don't, it's usually because they don't have good support. Because nobody told them XYZ. Nobody, you know, I see this all the time with women who have had a cesarean birth. It's normal to have a delay in your full milk volume up to 5 days after you have a cesarean. That's normal for a variation of a normal birth, which a cesarean is. But also really common when we have about a third of all people having them. So then what happens is that we have babies that are getting hungry, and those babies might need a little bit of early supplementation, we hope, with donor milk or something like that.
Okay.
But those moms need to know that that's normal and that it will shift and change. But then what happens is that they feel like, oh, I don't have enough milk, or my baby doesn't like breastfeeding, and now we started early supplementing and I'm a failure, and then they give up. Okay. And so when we don't have good support and education around, like, this is what's going to happen maybe as a result of your birth, or we work a lot with babies with tongue and lip tie, oral anatomy issues that we can see, you go get that fixed. Well, we can help you breastfeed. But if nobody tells you that, then you're going to think, well, my baby hates breastfeeding, or I'm no good at this, or I don't have enough milk. And so we really see that misinformation, a lack of information, and a lack of support trigger problems.
Okay.
So it's hard to pinpoint, like, what's the biggest thing you see?
Issue.
Because
if someone is struggling with breastfeeding in the early days or the first months, how can they find that support? Like, what should they be looking for to find? Like, should they look for that title?
So when we're looking for who can provide support, I like to start with mom-to-mom support.
Okay.
So, you know, when we're teaching classes, I say, does anybody know somebody here who's breastfeeding or can go and watch it? Because the reason why so many people struggle in this country is because we don't see it.
Yeah.
You don't walk out, it's like it's covered, it's shamed, or we don't talk about it, you're in the corner, you know. And so when little girls grow up in cultures and countries where they just walk around and people are breastfeeding, they don't have problems breastfeeding. And if they do have like a real true issue, they can just go easily to all these other breastfeeding women and say, like, what do I do? You know? Or even in the cases, like, honestly, people don't have enough milk. They're like, well, she's got plenty, so let her go nurse your baby. Right? Yeah. Here we think this is crazy, but But just
it's not.
But it's not. Like, this is how people survive, right? So, so mom-to-mom support. So I say, like, number one, do you know some other moms who are breastfeeding? Because a lot of this stuff, you know, I am a board-certified lactation consultant. I studied lactation for 5 years to get this credential. I know a lot about breastfeeding, but not everybody needs to pay me to come and show them this. And if I could just come to your house and be like, oh, hey, try nursing like this, and this fixes all your problems, that would be great.
Yeah.
So we like to have sort of these tiers of support. And then there's different, you know, lactation counselors and things like that. But I feel like if there are some issues that really can't be helped by what we call, like, you know, the sort of sisterhood of moms, other people who have breastfed, that finding a board-certified lactation consultant, so you look for the IBCLC, the Internationally Board-Certified Lactation Consultant, is really important when you think, okay, are we worried about baby's weight gain? Are we worried about pain that isn't going away when we fix these few little positioning issues, or they're kind of getting used to it? So anything that's persistent, anything that's getting worse, or when we're really concerned about baby's well-being or mom's well-being, because sometimes babies can have issues that create issues for moms. So that's where we like to sort of make sure that people are getting good level support. The issue is, though, is that, like any field, there are some of us that are really good and passionate and care a lot about it, and there are people that don't. I mean, you could go to the grocery store and find people that really love their job of checking groceries and people that really hate it. And so it's important that I also say that if you're going and getting lactation support from somewhere and it's not meeting your needs, if you don't feel supported in what you personally want, go find someone else, because there are so many. Okay. Just like you can go to the next line over next time. You won't go to that crabby guy. When you're just like, I'm going to go over here. And there is so much support out there.
Yeah.
There's great support in hospitals and clinics. There's terrible support in hospitals and clinics.
Yeah.
There's great private practice support, and there's terrible private practice support. Some moms are really helpful, and some don't have a clue. So that's why I think it's really important. Our number one thing that we say about breastfeeding in our practice, we're super pro breastfeeding, but we're way more pro sanity. And so if someone is giving you tips and ideas and a plan that is making you feel a little crazy or losing your sanity, not enjoying your baby, go find somebody else to give you different help.
Yeah.
Because we always want to make sure that people are enjoying their baby, and we want to make sure babies are being fed. And we hope that those two things come together, and breastfeeding is wonderful and magical. And if it's not, we're going to help to work to get to that point if that's what your desire is, but also to help come up with a realistic plan that allows for those things to occur. And sometimes you do need supplementation or devices or nipple shields or pumps or whatever, but those aren't sort of like predominant, like let's do this right away. So like let's sort of, we call ourselves like breast detectives, like let's kind of peel back the layers of the onion and see what's going on here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, and definitely check out the link to Enlighten Mama, their website above. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.